Good evening, Speed Gaming, and welcome to the Link's Best Randomizer League Season 5. We are starting Week 2 here between Oops All Foxes and Rando Toddlers. We are Oops All Foxes represented by Tracefire, and Rando Toddlers represented by Vextover. How's it going? I am Wolfling0370. Joining me on CodeCom is Dawn Vendor. I hope I said that right. And Dawn, go ahead and tell us what we're dealing with here.
All right, welcome. We are gonna go watch Oops All Foxes versus Rando Toddlers. Tracefire representing Oops All Foxes, Vextover for Rando Toddlers. We're to see some Invrosia, which is a mix of inverted and ambrosia. That means that there's gonna be a guaranteed item on all the bosses. We're gonna start in the Dark World and find stuff to make our way to the Light World as well. Gan's Tower is located at Hyrule Castle. Eggenham's Tower is located where Gan's Tower will be and will be open on the mountain, Dark Death Mountain. And big keys are shoveled as well to make the Dark World a little bit nicer to start off with.
That's right, and then also another factor of inverted and the ambrosia settings here is we are starting with an assured sword.
Yeah, it looks like both of them are going to start off using that sword to guarantee a tier 1 tree pull, hoping to get bombs or some amount of money. Bombs preferably, so they can open up this hype cave here and get the items from within.
Fortunately, it looks to only be a single green rupee for that tree pull, so they're going to move on elsewhere. There is some other spots to go, like a common play in inverted is to head to the drop-down pit in Lost Woods. Or the Skull Woods area, rather. And that has 2 bombs right there and a quick death point so you can reset and grab a couple more. So we'll probably be seeing that from one, if not both runners coming up here. It looks like they're heading that way now.
Yeah, that's like my preferred start for inverted, just because it's a guaranteed thing, so you don't have to gamble whatever the chance is to get some bombs. And there's nothing on Bumper Ledge. But yeah, like the guaranteed bombs, being able to grab that for sure. Sometimes it's nicer than doing the small gamble, but sometimes gambles pays off, and because they both started doing that gamble, none of them are going to get burned from it.
Looks like Trey is actually going to skip the bomb grind here. And Vex is just going to go for the free item here at the start of Skull Woods.
Yeah, that's a bit interesting because you can only really get one item here and then some amount of items inside of Thieves Town, but he does get paid off with 100 rupees, so he can go check the chess game and work his way down south towards Stumpy and get the Digathon as well, the digging game.
He is 1 rupee short to do both the digging game and the treasures minigame, though, so hopefully he gets the 50-50 bomb right there, and another one. Wow, that is some lucky finds there from Trey.
Yeah, that second one I didn't even know about. That is really good game knowledge there, and finds 50 more rupees, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yes, now, of course, you see those zeros next to both of their team names here. In Week 1, during the co-op All Dungeons info share, looks like neither team managed to pull off a win against their respective opponents in either of their 2 matches. So they are currently without a score here. So this is going to be their first chance to get some points on the board for the league. And there is a glove in the front of Thieves Town.
It doesn't logically open anything, but it's really easy to sequence break into Dark Death Mountain and grab a couple extra checks there if they really want to.
And now you can see the grind I'm talking about here with the bombs. Vextover taking an intentional death warp there, just to reset those pots and get a couple more bombs that way. And it's really quick and easy to die with that rotating energy orb as well.
Yeah, I think like 3 or 4 bombs is the preferred amount, just because you get 2 for the hype cave, 1 for the bombable shed there.
And we're seeing that Thieves Town is a pendant dungeon, and we should see that. Okay, we do have to do Skull Woods at some point. That is a crystal dungeon.
Ooh, and the Master Sword. Look at that. That's a nice find.
That's sort of not a really big deal in the early game consideration when it comes to Aghanim. Because Aghanim is actually changed here. I don't believe we've covered this. So, Ganis Tower and Aghanim Tower have basically swapped places. But the barrier doesn't exist on Ganis Tower. So, there is no Master Sword or Cape requirement for going up to Aghanim Tower. You just need to have Death Mountain access. And for that cause, again, because of inverted, the Old Man Cave and the emergency exit, I believe, have swapped functionality. So we can go up the Old Man Cave that way. No, I'm sorry. It's not the Old Man. It's not the emergency exit. It is Bumper Cave has switched. So you need to do that from the Light World now.
It looks like Trey Spire did go for the 50-50 bushes to try and find some more bombs to work his way south down to Hype Cave, and that looks where our logical impression is going to be, with that Stumpy, Digging Game, and Hype Cave being the last remaining locations we haven't checked yet.
Yeah, gonna start over here with the Digging Game. Has plenty of money for this as well. Can even has enough money to actually just pay for some bombs at the bomb shop, which is a bit expensive at 100 rupees, but it does guarantee a full 10-pack. And then some, I believe.
I have no idea where that bomb shop is in the Dark World.
Oh, you're right, because it's normally Link's house. A little bit of a forgetfulness there. Because Link's house and the bomb shop have swapped places to make the inverted work. Bottle of the Bean, not really the greatest thing, but that will be helpful when we get to Light World eventually. Now, probably wondering how the mirror works here, if you haven't seen inverted yet. The mirror works, and it takes it from Light World to Dark World, and that does a few different things. For one thing, all of the mirror lock locations have had the overall map edited slightly so that they are available without the mirror. And in addition, this does mean that we are not allowed to backdoor Desert anymore. We need to find that book if it's required, but we don't necessarily need the medallion for Turtle Rock anymore because we can backdoor that with the mirror now. So there's a bit of a trade-off there, and ultimately it's kind of worth in the late game, but early game is where this inverted is really difficult.
Another thing to note with that mirror talk about is the desert. The desert requires the book to enter it because you can't mirror into it like you can before. But on the flip side, you could also use the mirror to get to Misery Mire, which would normally require the flute if it's not inverted.
That is true. I did mention the desert part, but I didn't mention that you can get to Mire that way. So yeah, flute may not necessarily be required either. Now, we found the lamp, we found a glove, and we have a Master Sword in play. This may be leaning on the fact that we have logical access to Aghanim now. Which is very interesting, to say the least. It's not too common to see an Agha requirement in inverted, but at the same time, that means you're going into Light World with that guaranteed hard mode enabled, which adds a bunch of guards all over the map, namely most notably in Kakariko and Eastern Palace. A lot of the poultries are different. There's Pose in the graveyard as well. It's really not a good time, especially if you're early on and are pretty low in terms of your equipment levels.
Yeah, what I don't like about it is that Mooncurl could be in the Light World in a couple of different places. And I really don't like bunny walking in this game just because it feels so slow. You can only do certain checks once you get there. It's not something I enjoy.
Here's our full map check, and we see Thieves' Town is the green pendant, and I believe our 5-6 is the Dark World as well. So that's all of our important knowledge out of the way. I think there was also an additional pendant somewhere in the south, but I didn't quite catch where.
I think it was 5-6 in Misery Mire and Turtle Rock, and I think the other pendant was Pod, but I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, so that actually is good information there. So Red Turtle Rock, Pendant, Pod. I believe we have 5-6 in the overworld as well, but I wasn't quite sure.
With what's going on, because they're bottlenecked to both, like, almost last locating that lantern, they're both bottlenecked into going up the mountains, so Trey Spire has a small lead on Vex to begin with.
Now, there is a small benefit to this round. They can prolong the Aghanim just a bit by heading over to Hook Cave and Super Money Cave. And we got the Cave of Samari from the old man. That is in logic, so...
Yeah, it's really easy to bunny walk to return him, and then the other thing in logic is Spectacle Rock Cave, which you can drop down into and grab the item from the back without having to open up any chests or anything like that.
And you can see one of the map edits right there as we enter the cave, and you can probably see it when we leave. The top of Spectacle Rock there has been leveled off, so you can just enter from above.
That 300 rupees in there is really interesting. It gives him a lot closer to Zora money as well as bottle vendor money and pod money once it comes up. So he's going back and grabbing that before saving and quitting back to the mountain.
Yeah, honestly, this is a fine enough play. Money in the early game of Inverted is kind of hard to get by on, so finding that extra 300 rupees so readily available is pretty good, honestly.
Now the question here is he just going to go straight to do Aghanim's Tower, or is he going to go do the Sewer Bunny Cave with only 3 hearts, trying to get past those Lionels?
Well, the Lionel Fireballs only deal 2, and they do reposition after each shot, so there is a good... You can bait them into just shooting a shot, and then you tank it, and then they just get out of your way. But other than that, Tracefire has to be really careful, and does Vextoven when he gets up there. And it looks like they are going to be checking this first, putting off Aghanim to the very last possible chance. I can get behind it.
Yeah, Trey did not go into Skullwoods, so... you know, there's still that weighing on his mind, probably.
Yep, and there's the kiting that I was mentioning earlier. Really good job by Trey. Managed to get into Super Bunny Cave, and that resets those Lionels. Don't have to worry about them anymore. This is pretty much a one-way trip, though, so we'll either have to reset or die.
And it's nothing here. That means they have to do Aghanim's Tower. It is required to do Aghanim's Tower.
And it's not too, like I said, it's not too common to see that, but it is fairly common still. You can at least go over here and check Turtle Rock, I would assume. Don't need the medallion in at all, but can just see what it is. It's Bombos. You can climb up on the tail of Turtle Rock as well, I believe. Oh, wait, hold up.
I think they're just filling a bottle here with that extra rupee money. Letting the beat go. Paying that premium price of 150 rupees to get that red bottle. Just to extra safety for once they have to do Aghanim's Tower.
Yeah, honestly, not a bad idea. So early on, it looks like Tracefire is going to be the first one to beat Aghanim, but Vextofer has a bit of an advantage in terms of combat, so his tower climb will be a little bit easier.
Yeah, killing those chain guards is a lot faster when you have the Master Sword compared to the Fighter's Sword, and maybe if you really feel like using it, the Canis Samaria, I really don't recommend it.
No, but here we go. The Aghanim Tower climb is go. Vextofer's sprite is Mega Man X, and the Bunny World sprite is the hologram of Dr. Light that you get the armor upgrades from, which is actually pretty hilarious. Meanwhile, I believe Tracefire is playing as a Gardevoir, although I've never seen that specific coloration before.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's Gardevoir for sure. I just don't know why the color looks so skewed. It's not like they got a male upgrade or anything. It's still blue.
Maybe it's a Halloween variation, because it is around that time of year. But it is definitely a Gardevoir, because Ralts was the bunny sprite. I can recognize that Pokemon anywhere.
But yeah, since they got to do Aghanim's Tower, once we get to the Light World, the only 2 logical checks is the Bottle Vendor and the Sick Kid. One of them hopefully has a Moon Pearl, which they can just continue on in the Light World, but it could be something worse, like the Hammer.
Alright, past the Dark Rooms now. Good kiting there from Vextofer, meanwhile, getting past the Lionel, so once again on 1 heart.
Yeah, that was really close there. They did not run away as far as they normally do. They were being quite more aggressive than usual.
Yes, now, just to be completely clear for anyone why they don't just tank them, the contra-additional Lionel is 4 hearts. So that would kill them. The Fireball does 2 hearts, so they have to tank the Fireball, not the Lionel itself.
Spire did use the bottle that they've acquired, so good use for them. Just guaranteeing they don't die here.
Yeah, good heads-up play there. Last floor now for Spire, going to be going to the Aghanim. Does not want to fall all down here. Those cards can easily push you off, but pretty quick and easy. And Vextover is now entering in the Aghanim Tower as Spire is about to go fight Aghanim 1.
Yep, just you hit him 6 times and don't die to the blue balls, and you should be good.
Yep. Aghanim 1 is pretty much a scripted fight. First shot and it is always going to be a orange shot that you can reflect back at him for damage. The last shot is always going to be lightning. The 3 shots in between, though, can be either another orange shot or the blue shot, which we don't want to see because that just wastes time. It's not going to be able to be reflected into him for damage.
Yeah, because this is a randomizer, we don't want to randomize everything to make it awful, so in a way, the Aghanim is also scripted in a way. So they're both going to have the exact same pattern between the 2 players. The difference will be if one of them were to like die to Aghanim. The second time they climb the tower is going to be different than the first time. But yeah, the amount of blue balls that they're going to get is the same as long as they do the fight the same way.
Yeah, the RNG for Aghanim is seeded, as is Ganon and Aghanim 2 as well. So here we go. This is looking pretty okay. Only a couple blue balls. And there we go. And here we are at Hyrule Castle as a Ralts.
Kind of curious as to why they
This is smart.
Saved and quit.
I think Trey was trying to get out of the castle, but I don't think they did. I think they thought the castle was a dungeon and therefore would reset them back in the dungeon, but no, that's not how it works with Bunny. You go back to, I believe, the dimension that you can be normal in.
I mean, couldn't they just jump down the side wall there off the side? And then just walk out that way? I'm not sure if this is faster at all.
I'm not sure either, but at the same time, there was a fair amount of guards there, so trying to probably avoid a bunch and taking a lot of unnecessary damage. You are defenseless as a bunny, so... Here we go with the Aghanim fight over on... And there's one of our big keys, and it is the big key to Thieves Town.
That isn't logic. You can complete Thieves Town now, excluding the big chest. Oh, I was hoping it was going to be Hammer, so there's more chests, but nope. This is where we're going to.
I did not see that coming at all. Oh boy.
Trey is going to find out that they can open up these chests here in a second. What? I thought you can't.
Looks like he might have done a Super Bunny. Yeah, he can't use items as a bunny, but he can still push blocks and open chests if he does Super Bunny, so...
Oh, that's right, because they got the bottle vendor. They're able to do this. That's right. All right. It's not in logic, but it's available.
This is in logic, though. These 4 chests. Big key to Turtle Rock found. It's just a bunch of bombs and a heart piece. So nothing in Kakariko they can get without the Moon Pearls. So it looks like we have to go 3 hearts, or Thieves Town, 4 hearts even. This is not looking good. It is very. It should be noted that it is very common in standard inverted play to be doing low percent boss fights that you're not really used to it. So we are going to be most likely seeing a low percent Thieves down here without the hammer. This doesn't feel good, but there's really no choice.
As I was saying earlier, like one of the things for this mode is that the big keys are shuffled, so you don't have to do these low percent plays they would normally do if they weren't shuffled. So this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be nice to see some, some good players doing some good dungeons with lower equipment than you're used to.
I'm being corrected that the well was not on logic. I thought it was on the same vein of Super Bunny, but whatever.
I assume it's like in logic except for the back of it, because you need to throw the bomb, use the bomb.
Oh, right. So anything Super Bunny is not on logic. These are just checks they can do. Right. Because it's glitchless logic. It's not something that you normally think about here, because Super Bunny logic is a very niche thing, but... Or Super Bunny in general is just a very niche thing, but it's a lot more common in inverted.
Yeah, if I was to be playing the seed, I would have described the 2 things that I know is green on the tracker and just save and quit from there, and not even think about what they both done. So they have way better knowledge of this game mode than I do.
Yeah. Now, that's... what? They had the information that this was a pendant before even having the map. I guess... Right, no, it was just doing...
Yeah, the maps aren't shuffled, which means you can check the map, or as it shows in the... What you said earlier was next to the mana bar. So yeah, they know it's a pendant. It's just if they check to see if it was a green pendant or not.
I'm just getting confused by the big key sanity, I guess.
Yeah, with big key sanity on, double dips are a lot more common than in other game modes.
So... There is an option to walk all the way to Sahasrara for the items there, but that is a very dangerous concept. Hopefully they can find the Moon Pearl. No, they find the flippers. Oh boy.
The flippers leads them to East Dark World. It's once again, this has just been such a big bottleneck between having to do Agnes Tower for the Thieves Town Big Key for the flippers. Is it just gonna be one progression item even more, or is it gonna be a couple items and let them to stray from one another?
Okay, well we know Blind has an item, so let's hope it has the Moon Pearl, please.
Right, because Blind has an item. That means the big chest is a dungeon item, so we don't have to come back for that once we do get Hammer. I think I've been counting my items correctly. I think there was 3 up front, 1 in the Zelda cell there, and 1 on the boss. So that's all 5 items accounted for.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. I didn't see the compass anyway. And there's the green pendant. And it's only a heart container. On Blind.
We could actually turn in the green pendant. We just have to bunny walk over there and turn it in. So that if someone really wants to go out of their way, they can go do that. But we're probably just gonna see them go to like pod area, maybe all the way to Catfish first, or maybe they'll do a current jump and grab the catfish and work their way south towards the pyramid and pod.
We're gonna look here. It looks like there is a singular pendant in the light world. We do confirm the 5-6 is Mizumari Turtle Rock. And pendant pod.
Oh wait, you don't need the current jump, you got flippers. That's the reason why we're going this way. Duh.
Alright, let's see. Let's hope the catfish is something good. Trey still hasn't been to Skull Woods, and that is where one of our swords are. I wonder how much of an advantage Vextover is going to get just in terms of faster fights going forward until Trey gets there. It doesn't really matter here against Blind, though, because Blind always takes the same amount of damage.
Yeah, like, a lot of the bosses, you don't actually really need swords, which is why, like, Swordless is such an okay game mode. And we find the hook shot. That gives us hook shot cave. Nice. But yeah, like, the swords, you don't really need for some bosses. Like, if you have Fire Rod, that can deal damage to some. You get the bow to deal with others. Sometimes sword upgrades are just luxury, but... You know, just killing random enemies along the way in the dungeons is where the sword upgrades really shine.
Yeah, especially with combat rooms. Now here we go with the... Well, this looks to be a bunny walk over to the hospital, and this is going to be somewhat dangerous. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of stronger guards, and a couple of the guards in the Eastern Palace area in particular immediately aggro on Link before you even get a chance to see them.
It's nice by Trey, too, to go and check this along his way. Wow, there's a Fire Rod. So once we actually get the Moon Probe, we can grab that Fire Rod right away and work our way to, like, Mothula if we really want to.
Alright, yeah, you can see these red guards are the aggro ones. There's going to be about 3 or 4 here. Tanks 1 hit. Manages to get away.
Looks like Vextover is working his way from the south to go north.
It's only a heart piece there.
that was quite a commitment just to turn that green pendant in. But they're going to use that hookshot advantage and work their way to a hookshot cave. But yeah, Vex is working his way from the south to the north. Maybe they'll go to Pod next after this. But, you know, after seeing that hookshot, I kind of want to see him follow Trey up to the catfish there.
Gabe, don't do this. I'm not expecting this to be something really dumb. It's Ice Ride, okay. If this was a Moon Pro's pyramid scene, I was just like, what the heck is going on? But both rods now found.
Hey, it's required for pyramid.
So it is back to Hookshot Cave that we go, it seems. Unless it's somehow in Palace of Darkness, which I doubt.
Yeah, because, like, I guess they have a bottle if they really want to. They could use the bottle glitch to open up the right side and try and work their way through the dungeon around that way, but yeah, this has a lot better chance of paying off. And he dies to the Lionels!
The Lionel was still loaded in and just sniped Trey as he's picking up the boulder. That is unfortunate.
I think that might have been preventable if they just positioned a little bit better to pick up that rock, but because they stood so high on the left side there that the Lionel was able to run down and snipe them right before they can run away.
Yeah, and good on Trey for trying to use the hookshot iframes to get away. Unfortunately, the Lionels eventually tagged him. So, gonna have to go back that way.
It is not a short walk.
Yeah, at least a minute is lost here, but still doing fine.
Alright, that extra heart from that fairy there. Gonna allow them to get hit twice before dying. Yeah, this is much safer. And it's already picked up, so they don't have to worry about that now.
Smokey to start us here in Palace of Darkness meanwhile, and now we're getting our first look at Hookshot Cave here. First item is a heart piece. 20 rupees. What else we got here? The bow! Oh, that is a big find.
Oh man, that makes me like they have to go and like hopefully Vex does the bottle glitch now because it might be something required on the right side there.
Shield found, meanwhile, that is the first item we've seen out of pod. Not really that great to find. Fire Shield is probably the best you can hope for, but other than that, shields are kind of useless in Randomizer, admittedly.
You know, I like having shields. The first one, you know, just blocks some small shots. Second one, block a lot more. And then the third one is just a luxury for like Gan's Tower for me. Dealing with like the red mimic room, second mimic. And as well as the TR laser bridge, of course.
I just like the shield because it makes my fake liver safe. Alright, big key chest being checked here for Backstover. Meanwhile, Trey will be getting the ice right here on the pyramid. Only the map. And it's a bow lock.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, it's a bow lock pod.
Because they didn't fill up any of their bottles. I think one has a B and then the other one I think might have been empty. They can't actually do a bottle glitch on the right.
I don't even know if Vex has got 2 bottles. I think he only has 1.
Oh, that's right. It's Trey that has 2. No, I'm not even sure. But still, either way, the bottle is not filled, so they have to go to Catfish now and grab that hook shot. So that kind of puts Vex even further behind. But like this difference too could just be that, you know, Trey also, you know, as we said before, gambled that Skull Woods has absolutely nothing. They have not checked any items in Skull Woods, so that's something that, you know, they put off early and they're just committing to it, which is pretty good for them, knowing that there's nothing there.
I don't think either runner is enjoying this seed, to be perfectly honest. Both runners have been having to go back and do like last locations here the whole time, it feels like. So they probably feel behind in multiple ways. So that's the last location hookshot for Vex. And Trey is just now entering pod after finding the bow. And this is a last location for Trey, but it will eventually lead him on the right path. At least we're hoping.
I mean, it's just the bow. Come back. I guess Vex also didn't turn the green pennant, but I don't know if they really want to either. Like, this is just so much more dense, which is also probably why they went to pod first. Just follow the density, not try to go for these one-offs.
And our tracker Ataril in chat, or Art, heard letting us know that the second battle was in fact in blind set, and Vex has not been over into Kakariko Village yet. So that's where that second bottle is. And bombing the shield chest. I do not blame Trey at all.
I was just trying to think, like, why is this bow locked? It's like there's 2 items up front that aren't small keys. Like, wait, duh. You get 2 small keys on this right side, then you go work your way to the back.
Yeah, because of the key logic here, there has to be 4 small keys on the front, so they know that they cannot full clear the dungeon without going to this bow lock side.
So in a way, Vex also just kind of like followed the logic by using the key in the worst way possible, and use that small key to get the 1 drop-down chest rather than go to the back, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, trying to bank on there being the Moon Pearl there, which, to his credit, was a fine enough play, but now we know that this was a hard required. And Trey is going to take a death ward meanwhile, and Vex is now coming into pod, so the routes are converging here, and there is a small advantage to Trey.
Like the advantage that Vex has is the sword upgrade, and then Trey just has like the logical chain advantage. But because once again, it's just so bottlenecked that they just both have to do the same things, and you know, it's like we're starting the game over from minute 0, but it's actually like 35 minutes on the map on the race.
Yeah, Trey also has done a little bit more checks than Vex, and Vex has done some checks that Trey has not. So there is a little bit of a time gap there that we can't account for. But it's looking to be like both runners will be in the back at relatively the same time, actually. Yeah, they're not room for room.
Yeah, part of the difference too is because Trey died trying to get to the hookshot cave. You can kind of see the difference being made up here from Vex.
Vex still needs, of course, to go get the 2 small keys in the back, so not quite caught up just yet. Jumped the gun there a bit on my part. Alright, so Trey's going to give us our first look here into Pod. No big here either, I believe, so we can't finish this dungeon.
Need the big key and the hammer to complete this.
Big room. Gonna grab a few for Zora, it looks like. There, I believe, is the last small key. And there is the moon
pearl. Oh, now the game is starting now.
That was a long chain of events just to get the Light World access.
Yeah. That moon pearl was dodging them for so long. Even being air required is just icing on the cake.
Now, I forget. I believe the catalyst here was the flippers, but I forget where those were.
Flippers were in Thieves Town. Thieves Town Big was inside Light World.
So this was forced Aghanim then. Oh, boy. I was wondering if they could have just dodged and came here early, but I don't think they could have.
They could have kern jumped.
They could have, yeah. But logically speaking, this is Aghanim required.
Yeah, we do know for sure that there's a fire rod that Trey can go get right away.
And there's our Light World map check. Hera is the dungeon we don't have to do. The other 2 are crystals. Which means we do, in fact, need to find the Book of Medora this seed.
And both these runners knowing the pod key logic, doing the entire front and then doing that dark room, the dark loop. Leaving that with 2 small keys means that the chest beneath in Harmless Hellway is a key for a key. So they both avoided that.
Big key to Skull Woods in the Dark Maze. I don't think Trey's been over here, actually. Or, was Trey over here? I don't think he was.
Yeah, he was.
Okay. Couldn't quite tell.
Boots! All that walking around. We can now run.
Bit late on the boots, but hey, better late than never. This will speed up the overall considerably here.
I mean, better late than never, right? Like, you gotta love having boots at some point in the seat that's not like a go mode or in like GT kind of boots.
I couldn't agree more. Alright. Paradox Cave here. Or not Paradox, Mini Molder Cave. Only a little bit of money, some health right now. Not really the greatest find there, but that is still a good amount of heart containers, so looking pretty nice on the health front. Definitely entering mid-game now.
Yeah, that can give you a lot of confidence to do dungeons that you might have not considered the first time because of how low your health was in Vex. Using that Moon Pearl, using that hook shot, could be going to the mountain to push that advantage where Trey decided to go South Shore. So this is where our divergence finally happens.
Yeah, Light World access in an inverted is when just complete another chaos happens. There's going to be a lot of route diversions. Finding the shovel and 50 rubies there in the bottom of Paradox Cave. We're seeing Ice Rock Cave here as well. And that is the magic powder, which is going to be another check later. I think it's actually... No, it's not logic. We need the mirror, I believe.
You also just need the hammer as well. But yeah, it's nothing we can need right now. We found the blue mail inside Paradox Cave as well. I love finding the blue mail. Just effectively doubles your health. And the mirror! That is huge. I love finding that inverted because finding that in any mode is always nice because you can pretty much double your checks.
Yep, and that mirror gives us access to Turtle Rock. In fact, we could go and clear Turtle Rock's boss right now.
Yeah, Vex Topher doesn't know that he has Fire Rod available to him on the Lake Healy Island, so probably going to put that out for a while. Obviously, don't want to rush it. You really don't want to do it without a little bit more safeties other than half magic or at least a green-blue goo to ensure in case you miss some Fire Rod or Ice Rod shots on the boss. Nothing on the Hobo.
And there's going to be a Turtle Rock scout here from Vextover just diving into the dungeon.
You know, I don't hate this. It's available to him. He can just mirror straight to it. If it has the hammer, he can do Mimic Cave immediately after. It's, pretty good check. I'm not mad at this.
Yeah, hoping to find the hammer in here, and we did find the big key early. Waterfall Fairy, meanwhile, being checked by Tracewire, finding the other armor upgrade, and a big key, this one going to Eastern Palace. That is huge. That means that dungeon can just be cleared outright. And getting a free red potion as well for his troubles.
Normally I'd say, always be clearing crystal dungeons. It's progression 100% of the time. But I want to see him put this off. Oh, never mind. I was going to say, go do Eastern, mirror, do Pod. But no, Pod is a crystal, or a pendant. So let's, we just go to Eastern after this. I like that.
Yeah, and there's nothing else left to do in Pod anyway because we don't have the big key. We have full cleared that dungeon with San's big key. So let's see what King Zora has. 500 rupees for 20... Yeah, no. So this is barely, despite the bottleneck nature of the seed, this has been a very diverse run. We have Trey, who has definitely got a little bit more overworld progress done, and will continue to extend his lead with those boots. But then we also have the mirror in play, which is allowing Vex to look through and clear a lot more dungeons. So it's going to depend on a lot of factors, really. There is so many different factors at play here, actually. I can't even list them off.
Yeah, Trey is following that big key he just found, just going straight into Eastern, gonna grab all those items, gonna work his way to Sahasrara after, grab the 3 items right afterwards, and hopefully find more progression, just continue from Crystal Dungeon to Crystal Dungeon to Crystal Dungeon, and hopefully find Go Mode along the path.
Yeah, Trey, Vex Topher is definitely taking advantage of his combat here to try to go for dungeons a little bit more aggressively. Could have had the Fire Rod, but has not done nearly as much overworld progress as Trey has. So these are two very different runners in terms of what they prioritize, and it has proven to be a pretty entertaining race thus far.
Yeah, once they both got to Light World, they diverged so much. There's 3 different ways you can look at this. There's the South Shore route, which is what Trey did. There's the mountain route with that hook shot in hand, which is what Vex Topher did. And then there's also just like the Kakariko route, which Trey already got a majority of the items from, so probably put that off to later.
And speaking of items,
there's a lot of items there.
Speaking of items, in Eastern Palace, Trey has found the Book of Medora, which means he has access to Desert Palace as well.
No big keys, so it can't be completed yet.
No, but that is a good amount of items there as well. And if Trey puts it off and goes to the mountain next, can get the mirror. There's the big key to Tower Hera. That might put him up the mountain.
Oh, some very good laser skips by Vex there. He was really close to dying, took his time on the third one, and gets the items without dying, so good on him for doing that so cleanly.
Yeah, meanwhile, we're seeing the Dark Invitational Palace here. There is a roof room to the right, but Trade does not need the money anymore at this point.
Yeah, I didn't notice that Vex took this safety door, or took the safety door in TR, so his routing on Death Mountain kind of got a little skewed from that. Instead of being able to continue on. Actually, no, they don't have hammer. They can't do tower fair. Never mind. His routing as well. That's I'm incorrect here.
Oh yeah, because of the nature of the sea, we cannot enter Tower Hero without the hammer. That's right, I forgot about that. So many nuances here in this mode.
Looks like Vextofer is going to do Hyrule Castle. I kind of like if he goes and steals the key from the... I know there's just a hammer. More available to him. That's great. But yeah, I like stealing the small key from the guard up front of Hyrule Castle, work my way all the way to Sanctuary, and then mirroring back to the front to finish the escape. But maybe... Oh, just avoiding it. Never mind. Just wanted to do Uncle, I guess.
Uncle is a pretty quick check, and rewarded with a hammer, so... Once again, Vex with a major combat advantage, but no mobility advantage to speak of. That is solidly in Trey's hands.
Yeah, like, even finding... Oh, there's a sword in the back of the hospital's hut. Even finding that hook shot first gave Trey a little bit of a movement advantage to start off with, too.
And back to Mall Sound. And that is our third known sword as well, so... Tempered will be available for Trey once he eventually goes to Skull Woods.
I kind of, like... I want to take these items, and I want to push the advantage. I want to keep going to crystal to crystal here. Like, I really hope Vex goes from here to down to the dam and tries to go into clear the swamp, and they'll be rewarded with the boots too coming this way. Prey pushing that book advantage and then finding the Master Sword allows him to actually get the item off of the tablet as well on Bombo's tablet.
Yeah. And with the book, that also might push him up towards... Oh no, he can't go to Ether Tablet, never mind. He needs to find that hammer over in Uncle's. But he will at least explore the area.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of how Trey's writing this as well. Just taking their one progression item and just kind of pushing that advantage from it. Like, found the big key to Eastern Palace, goes there, finds the book, goes to Desert. Just keep on finding this chain of items that, you know, if your opponent doesn't do it and the progression is here, you're going to be in a huge lead.
And the mobility advantage is now equal here, as Vexover now finally has the boots, but Trey has done so much overworld right now that he has got a lot of a ground advantage. Compass only on the torch. And we are seeing a Swamp Palace play from Vex.
I love it. This has so many items. Up to 7 items here. It's a crystal. It's guaranteed progression, so... Yeah, you gotta do it, you know, you just gotta do it. Your sword's a little bit lackluster to kill the puffs, but, you know, it's still workable. I love having the tempered sword for this boss and just trying to, like, quick kill the puffs.
So nothing really valuable here in Desert Palace so far. And yeah, Swamp Palace is an ideal crystal to go after because the boss is not locked by the big key. The only thing locking anything with the big key here in Swamp Palace is just the big chest, which is one item, which could just be the map or compass. So this is a really good gambit for Vex, just ignoring the Swamp Palace big key entirely. Now, if he finds both the map and compass in here, that means he will have to come back eventually with the big key, but with the boots in hand, that'll be a minor time loss at best.
I like going left side first. You're several items away from go mode. You might as well just check the left side first. Save some time here.
I agree, because if you are assuming that the Swamp Palace big key, or the Swamp Palace big chest has your one of your dungeon items, and there's going to be another dungeon item, at least one over here, and a non-dungeon item as well, so this I like from Vextover, just going to cover his bases here and make sure that there is not... Just assuming that there's just one dungeon item in the big key, in the big chest is going to be there. Trey, meanwhile, is now finally heading over to Skullwoods. This means he will be getting his Tempered Sword finally, and he will also be going to slay them off.
They're going to get their Tempered Sword after fighting them off. They're swinging from their way back and working their way towards the front, just to guarantee the items. Maybe there was like 2 items in the back, you know. He doesn't know that there's only 1, but yeah, working his way from the back, bringing his way to the front. He's going to get that Tempered Sword after killing Ma.
And let's say Swamp, giving that 1 item. Is there 2 here? Yes, but it's only the red boomerang.
Yeah, once again, just going Crystal Dust, or following the items he has. Once again, just enjoy this. I like it. There's just so much open. There's, like, what we need a medallion of some sort for Mr. Meyer, and then what, big key to desert and Misery Meyer for go mode. Like, we're actually not that far away. And there's the 4th sword inside of Swamp Palace.
Amazing. And there's no way Trey is going to miss that. So Trey will be getting tempered. If not gold here in a little bit.
Yeah, they're both definitely just going to be ending with gold. They're both along the way.
Alright, here we go with Diver Down. There's the compass, and I don't think we've seen the map yet here in Swamp Palace.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it, so, you know, it could be in the big chest. And there's a medallion.
And that's Ether, and that means that the map is, in fact, in the big chest, I think. Which means that Vex's Gambit here has paid off considerably. The boss is guaranteed to have the last item. So the Swamp Palace big key, if Trey finds it and goes for it, is just a big bait, but it will eventually lead him over here to get the 4th sword, amongst other things.
Trey doesn't have the mirror yet, so they're probably going to go do, like, Thieves Town area, the castle, or go to the mountain to find their hoard of items. And hopefully if they go to the mountain, they'll find their mirror and work their way to Swamp and the other dungeons available.
I think what Trey needs to do is actually head to Uncle, because that will incentivize him to check the Ether Tablet, which in turn will let him go up the mountain and do all those checks as well.
Yeah, I assume Vex is going to take the... Oh, no, he doesn't have Fire Rod, because he hasn't checked the island yet, but he's probably going to work his way over there, because I doubt he's going to work his way towards the desert without the book. So he's going to get that Fire Rod. He's probably going to go straight into Ice Palace here.
Meantime, big key to Skull Woods. We have not seen what this is, and it is the bug catching net.
And each one covering each other's tracks. It does look like Vex is going towards the South Shore, which is going to lead him into that Ice Palace. And then here's the Tempered Sword. Let's see where Trey goes after this.
Looks like Trey's is going to leave Skull Woods.
Alright, it took a while, but there's a save and quit here.
This looks like it might be a castle check, which is exactly what Trey needs to do here. This will give him the hammer, which will, again, will most likely incentivize him to go check the mountain checks.
No, going to the west. You're gonna go to CAC from the south here. You're gonna check Cave 45 and work the way out to, like, you know, Lumberjack Tree, all the way up to maybe North Sanctuary, like North Light World. So it's gonna put him off that hammer for quite a while.
And there's the fire rod for Vex Topher.
Yeah, I think he's just gonna do the hobo real fast, and then I think what I would like to see is going to Ice Palace before checking the water checks, like Zora area. Just, it's so far away that way, and you have to do Ice Palace anyway. You have the cane, you have the fire rod, hook shot, things that make Ice Palace so much easier. I just gamble that there's nothing in the big chest.
The silver
Silvers.
So now Trey with the combat advantage, but we'll see if Vex Topher will come over this way. Vex has not been to Kakariko Village at all.
Yeah, Vex has only been there to just grab the well that they can grab, the Bottle Fender, and the Sick Kid for their logical progression from the Thieves Town Big. Yeah, right now, Trey has the dungeon advantage, but I think at this point Vex might have the item advantage because they evened it up with finding the one bow.
With the Eastern Palace Big Key, might be incentivized to go to Eastern Palace here, which will give him the book, and might put Vex actually into a possible go mode here. We don't know what Myers' medallion is yet, but if it's Ether, that does put us in no mode here up in the booth. But again, we don't know that yet. We haven't seen anyone check the Meyer area at all. And I keep forgetting it's key sanity, so we still need to find those keys as well. Desert Big Key is still not found yet. And that's really the only big one. Oh, we need to find the Meyer Big Key as well.
Yeah, the Misery Big Key and the Desert Big Key is the two keys that we're lacking.
We also, by logic, need the Ice Palace Big Key, but we have Cane of Samaria. We know Icebreaker. It's most likely going to happen.
Yeah, even if they didn't have it, they could just do the bomb jump. But yeah, this is why I didn't want to see him do the water checks first. It's just because it's just such a long walk back to this whirlpool just to come back to this dungeon. I'd rather see Ice Palace and then do the water checks and like save and quit. And the mirror bong. It's one of the things with inverted here.
First look into Ice Palace here. And we are getting a ped check.
Pouch cash, big 20. Absolutely nothing.
Honestly, that was a really good check. Because if it was one of our two big keys, then we would have to go do the other three dungeons as well. Which means we'd be out looking for the pod's big key as well as... well, actually, no, just the pod big key.
Yeah, it'd have been a nice information advantage and just blind checking this. Because why not? You had the boots, you're already here. It's pretty much takes just as much time to check it from the other side, so might as well just drop down, grab this item.
Only 10 arrows.
Yeah, working its way to the North Light World here. Grab the Bonk Rocks, King's Tomb, Sanctuary. Oh, wait. Can they do King's Tomb? Yes.
Yes, with the mirror. Oh, there's the big key. It's the big key to ice.
That could be huge if there's something in there that's required.
Right side of Ice Palace, meanwhile, only having a small key so far. Yeah, so Icebreaker, not really there. There's Bombos, then the flute!
I mean, you know, that's an extra chance of what's at Mr. Meyer requirement.
Now, one thing we haven't mentioned about Inverted, by the way, is the flute works a lot differently. We need to turn it on in Kakariko like normal, but the flute locations only activate in the Dark World. So we can't reliably use that to just go quickly turn in the mushroom, for example. We have to walk there. Half Magic found, meanwhile, as is 20 rupees from both runners. Vextober with the Half Magic.
I was just about to mention that I like having the Bombos instead of Ice Palace, just to have a guaranteed amount of magic to kill the boss compared to the Fire Rod, where, you know, maybe use an extra shot here or there and accidentally use up too much magic where you can't actually beat the boss. But yeah, finding that half magic there is a very convenient item, and is also makes it easier to kill some bosses, as, you know, most notably the easiest way to kill Cold Stare.
Now, with the flute, this does mean Trey can just flute to 1 and potentially just go back up the mountain, but we do have the same equip point as well. We'll see where Trey goes here with the flute active.
You know, if Bombos isn't required, if Vex doesn't really have to go to the back there, it might be just a movement advantage as well still to Trey's Spire, being able to just fly down to Misery Mire area compared to having to go to the Light World or run to the desert area and then mirroring into the Misery Mire area.
Wait, wait, I just realized something. Trey's now incentivized to go to Turtle Rock without the mirror.
That was an insane fight by Vexhofer. Getting the spin off, getting some poke dashes into another spin just for the super quick kill on Cold Stare. That is not easy.
No, it's not.
That is a very great fight.
Oh, what the? Is this a... Oh, I see what he's trying to do.
I had to move one pixel down using this with a sword out, I believe. I think that's how I read it, was they gotta go to the very lowest pixel here. They pull the sword out, go down 1 pixel, destroy that bush with a sword or a bomb, and then hookshot across. What he's not doing, he's not using the sword to move down 1 pixel.
This is a new tech for me. I've never seen this before.
Too high here. It just came out. This is the best, the best way to get it. I've never tried it myself, but I feel like it's one of those glitches where it might be easier said than done. Who knows? But this, you know, kudos for trying it. Just knowing that it's available, and you know, other runners, new runners, even like more experienced runners probably don't know how to do that glitch. So, you know, trying something new, knowing it's there, maybe not know exactly how to do it, but still, it's.
Meanwhile, we are seeing the Maya region via the flute. And we are on a medallion hunt. It's Quake.
It's Quake. And this big key missing the keys under the front door.
Alright, so Quake entered the Misery Mire. Vextober, meanwhile, is entering Eastern Palace. This is what he needs to do. This is where the book is. But we have no idea where that Quake medallion is. It could be fire-locked in Turtle Rock. And Trey, with the Bombos medallion, does have access to just go straight into Turtle Rock without checking any of the other mountain checks. But is now incentivized to head over this way, which means he will be finding that mirror.
Yeah, once you have the beer, from me coming from a glitch modes, it's really great to just start from the laser bridge and working your way forward, because it requires one less small key. And you can just mirror from the front all the way to the back to the boss. Sure, it kind of orphans the big chest, but, you know, you're probably going to stop at Mimic Cave at some point, and you can just mirror grab it then.
So the only thing that Trey's not going to have going for him is the fact that he won't have the hammer, which is that uncle.
Oh, there's the shovel. I don't think Vextover checked his shovel yet.
He did. It was only 10 bombs.
Ah, that's right.
And there's the big key to Hera.
A little bit of incentivization with the book and the big key, and Trey finally getting the mirror.
Yeah. So does have the information advantage here. Knows that he will not be in go mode once he finds the hammer. He needs to find the Quake Medallion first. But the hammer could be locking the Quake Medallion.
Chad said they looked back and it says Mr. Meyer is actually Ether, but because Trey also doesn't have Ether yet, couldn't enter it.
I thought it looked like Quake there, but I guess my eyes were deceiving me. But so this is actually no mode then. Well, actually no. We still need to find the Desert Palace big key. I almost forgot about that.
But yeah, that could just be inside Desert itself, and you're right there. And then Trey doing what I said is just start from the back and working the way forward in TR. I guess the only punishment is if there's no small key on Laser Bridge.
Which there is.
Yeah, Trey also gets to just one-shot this because they had the fire rod the first time they came here, where Vextover did not. So Vextover still has to come back for this dungeon, and once again, because they didn't have the fire rod, they missed the 3 chests up front as well.
Now, I believe Ether was in this area. So Trey will be finding it here. But it's just going to avoid using the keys and go straight to Trinex and then go from the top down.
Oh, just going straight to the boss. I mean, yeah, it gets you to the front. You can start from the front and work your way back to the middle. I like it.
I like it too. Alright, so here we go. First look at Hyrule Castle here from Vextofer. If he finds the Meyer Big Key and the... Well, we need the Meyer Big Key and the Desert Big Key, but if he finds both of those, we are golden. We do know where the Meyer Big Key is, though.
I'm just trying to think, what is Vextover thinking? What's on his mind? Why is he digging inside this dungeon rather than going to like Skullwoods for the guaranteed item there?
I think he's looking for big keys.
I think I would put a lot more more oomph into clearing. Oh, there's Tinesmiths. It's just it's a convenience item. It's not great in this game mode. I want to put more oomph into doing finishing off TR for that guaranteed item, going into Skull Woods, finishing that off, because he only found the one item, so he knows there's 2 items there.
Trey is leaving TR. Did not check the other items. This does look like Trey will be heading to getting the hammer, though. No, he's not. Is this Super Bomb?
Once he beat the boss... No, he can't do Super Bomb because he has to do Mr. Meyer first. But I think once he beat the boss, maybe he held the wrong direction and couldn't actually walk back into the dungeon and just kind of got stuck in the doorway. Oh, turning in the mushroom. I didn't even work on that.
Could be a big key behind this mushroom here. If it's the Desert Big Key, then When will Vex ever check that, is the question.
Yeah, I guess they both they both got mushroom. I just didn't notice it, and it's only a full heart. It's nice. It's not great.
Yeah, the dam chest is where the mushroom was, I believe. So they've had it for a while now. There's the boneless pickup and the flute. So
Yes,
Vex will now go check Misery Maya region, I would assume.
No, I think Vex, because he found a small key, this road's very well for him. He can go from here all the way to the Sanctuary. He can go check Graveyard Ledge, drop down, do King's Tomb, check Bunk Rocks, go from basically after you start any normal seed and non-inverted, just cack down all the way, can, work his way south there. If he wants, he can also route it into doing Smith Chain, because it's all along this path. This is such a great sequence of events for him. Like, all his routing and putting off CAC is now coming in and paying off.
Alright, we're getting a Smith check from Trey, meanwhile. Trey is really being limited to what he can do with that hammer. Once he finds that, he can start blasting through the dungeons.
I think part of his reasoning for not checking that area is because he did start with the back of Escape. He went to the North Dark World, and he didn't find the small key. He didn't find the map, and so for him, Hyrule Castle is way less items than he'd like to commit his time to.
Trey only has the power glove, but because of this inverted nature, we can just use mirrors from the light to dark world and just go back through, and that just bypasses most of the glove requirements. There's the Ice Palace big key for Vex, which could mean he wants to go back.
Yeah, I wasn't counting the items in that dungeon. There's just so much going on because they've been so different locations ever since they hit the light world. It's been kind of hard to look back and forth because they're both doing different things, finding different progressive items, going to different dungeons. I'm kind of curious as to who do you think is ahead right now?
And there's our last bottle in a vanilla location, I might add.
But yeah, Vex can also take this mirror. He can go to this Lost Woods check pedestal, mirror, do Skull Woods. It is such a great route for him putting this off for so long.
Okay, Trey is now entering Swamp Palace. This is what Trey needs to do. This will give him Ether eventually, which will allow him to check Misery Mire. Vex still doesn't realize that the Misery Mire big key is just under the door, and if the desert big key is there, then this is a very interesting little endgame scenario we have here, because that means Trey is just hammer locked out of those remaining dungeons, whereas Vex just needs to just go to Misery Mire region.
Yeah, Chad is pointing out that because Trey doesn't have the hammer here, this is the only chest he can check inside of Swamp Palace.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting about the stumps.
Well, maybe this says, hey, go to Hyrule Castle now, because he already did the desert area. He did sell short. He's went into this one check. Oh nope, they're going into Ice Palace. Makes sense. It's clearable.
There is one minor saving grace here. If the desert Palace big key is in the big chest, I don't think Vex is ever going to go back to Ice Palace, so that will be an advantage for Trey.
It's not clearable because you need the hammer to drop down into the gold stair fight. Oh man, it started off so well for Trey too, but that hammer on Uncle is starting to be a big pain.
Yeah, he's just looking for the dungeons now and is expecting a double dip. But he can still check the big chest without the hammer. And that is an item that Vex has not seen yet. It could be required for all we know.
And very nice playing Moth.
Another boss down for Vex. The only unknown variable we have right now is where the Desert Palace Big Key is. First person to find it is going to be an advantage here. They just don't know it yet.
Alright, how much do we have left? We have, like... maybe some items inside of Turtle Rock. We have Misery Mire for sure. We have like Tower of Hera and Ether Tablet. We don't really have that much remaining, but they're all once again in mostly separate locations outside of, like, I guess Mountain together you can do. Yeah, I think Vex is gonna work his way all the way down to Desert, then once again mirror and go straight into Misery Mire.
Alright, there's the half match for Tracefire. Meanwhile, it is really going to come down to this Desert Palace Big Key. There's... I really don't see any other way for Trey to come back unless he just finds in a location that Vex is already hasn't checked yet. And this is one of them coming up right here, this Ice Palace Big Chest.
And 3 bombs. Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Alright, where is Trey gonna go next? Doing a save and quit here. This, I think we'll put him at Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, I think it does. So hop down or just go in. All right. I mean, you're gonna work your way. He has mirror. You can do the middle or the front here. If they're counting items, they'll know that there's a map inside the Dark Cross. Save some time there, and then exit and go check Uncle and grab that hammer and beat himself up a little bit for not having that earlier.
Yeah, this also will give him the time switch, which is a very moot point, I believe. Alright, Flute is online now for Vextopher. And this is actually a good point someone from Rando chat. We're at an hour and 15 minutes now. One runner is only just now doing Kakariko, and the other one hasn't checked Uncle at all. That's what Inverted does to you, I think. Is that the early gameplay is just...
because it's aggro required too, like, you're just kind of like stressed out that the entire game is put off until you find that Moon Pearl at like almost 35, almost 40 minutes just to find the Moon Pearl, which opens up everything in Light World.
Alright, combat advantage is now in Rando Toddler's favor with Vextover finding the silver arrows. But Trey just needs to find that hammer, and he's just going to the back.
Yep, just doing all the overworld checks that they can, working their way down. Like I was saying, it's gonna be a while, but we're gonna work our way down to Misery Mire. And Trey did not count the items, and so they did check the Dark Cross, so they didn't save any time there on Vex.
It is finally checking in, though. There's gonna be the hammer. We're seeing a hammer peg here as well.
Yeah, pushing the hammer advantage. Did Powder as well, or about to do powder.
Uh-oh.
And there's a big key. Where is it? Desert.
That's no
All
mode.
right. Vex still has to find that big key, which is right outside of desert. So, you know, he's gonna turn in this purple chest and go into desert. Mirror check that area and be in go mode. They'll know they're in go mode. That's huge. 1 hour, 19 minutes in. Vex Topher is almost gonna be in go mode.
Meanwhile, because Hammer Picks is such an isolated for Trey, I don't think Trey's ever going to check that. That will be a last location.
Like, the only thing that, like, incentivizes it for him is, like, alright, maybe you want to do the bat with it. Like, that's the only thing, is those are the only things you can chain together in that area.
Yeah, so this leaves Trey in a pretty awkward position, really, now that we know it. Let's see where Vex is going to go meanwhile.
I mean, at this point for Trey, do you start taking gambles? Do you, like, not check left side swamp here, even though there's going to be 2 items? You know, just try and gain some amount of ground that you probably know you're behind? Because you can just assume that your opponent checked that a lot earlier than you did.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that Trey feels behind here with that, how late that hammer was. That was most assuredly a last location.
Like, not just that, but, like, having to dip into Ice Palace, dipping into Swamp Palace, into these dungeons that require the hammer to full clear, and having to leave and come back later.
There's the 4th bottle there.
Yeah, Trey going straight to the back.
This does mean Trey is going to miss out on the gold sword, but really not that big a deal.
Yeah, the gold sword being in the U room, into the south of the lobby. If they just straight go mode this, try and go mode Ice Palace, and just, you know, continue some amount of gambles. Because there's the ether form to go do Misery Mire, if that's...
So to recap for those who are just now tuning in here, we had a forced item start in order to go bunny walk over to Sick Kid to get a Thieves Town Big Key. That led to us getting the flippers, which led to us getting the
hook shot on Catfish.
Which then allowed us to get the bow out of Hookshot Cave, which then allowed us to finally go get the Moon Pearl out of Palace of Darkness. All the while, the hammer was literally just in Hyrule Castle, over on in the Uncle chest. So, pretty bad spot for it, honestly. Because that location is going to be the furthest from their mind, especially in an inverted place, in an inverted world state in which they are starting in the Dark World. Trey, meanwhile, done with Swamp Palace here. Trey is just being very aggressive with the dungeons now. Definitely feels behind. And, ladies and gentlemen, Vex is about to find his big key. There's go mode.
Go mode for Vex. Topher, with a couple dungeons remaining, has your Desert, Misery Mire, and TR first. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't finish Desert Palace first before checking this area, but, you know, he has to do them both anyway.
Now, I'm unfamiliar with how this is set up here in terms of the big key shuffle for Ambrosia. Is the Gans Tower boss key also shuffled, or is that still locked in this
The
dungeon?
Gans Tower big key is inside Gans Tower for this game mode.
Okay, so it's been excluded. Got it. I wasn't sure if it was also shuffled with the rest of the big keys, so good to know. Good knowledge.
Yeah, it is the only big key in this version that is not shuffled outside of its own dungeon.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm kind of glad that that is an option. That was a bit more of a sanity check here, because if we were looking at that GT big key, then this would have been a whole other story.
Yeah, we wouldn't be in go mode then. But like, having the big key too for Misery Mire as your go mode, that feels really nice because you don't have to do any checks for this dungeon. You can just go grab the one small key under the pot and just go straight to the boss.
Alright, so Coldster coming up here for Trey. And the silver is such a nice pickup here for Vex, because that means that Diddy here is not gonna last too long. Puffball's getting away from Trey a bit, but has plenty of magic to burn and just kill them all pretty quickly. Also on blue mail still, I believe. Or did he pick up red? I think he picked up red. I'm not sure.
I can't remember. I want to say they're on red mail. Just because the blue mail that they got was in a very easy location. I think the red mail, or the other mail location, was inside Paradox Cave, I think.
Yeah, and I believe Trey has checked that, so I believe, yeah, he is on red mail. It must be like the chest crest that Gardevoir has that is the red mail tail, and it is red, so. Alright, we just saw a Misery Mire from Vex, and Trey's gonna go in there as well. Hoping the big key to Desert's there, but we know it's at Hammer Pegs.
Yeah, they're gonna... Alright, so what we know is there's one item on the boss for sure, which means they gotta find 2 items, so... You know, like, best case scenario, they're in very easy locations and not past the cutscene.
But we'll see. These are going to be some very quick dungeons here from Vextover, though. All he has to do after finishing Desert here is just go jump down off of the island to the very back emergency exit on Death Mountain, and then just mirror it. He's straight at Laser Bridge.
Yeah, so that dungeon's gonna be going by quick. Unless he needs a small key. In that case, he has to go to the front and grab a small key first. But we'll see once we get there if he has a key saved up. And here goes the desert boss.
The other thing that Trey might be banking on is the Pyramid Fairy has the Desert Big Key, but we also know that is not the case, given we know where it is.
Oh, yeah, that's an additional check for him that he's probably going to do straight after this, which isn't the Desert Palace Big Key location. That's not the Hammer Pegs.
He will have a moment to think, so hopefully he will remember Hammer Pegs. But yeah, Vex is on the warpath here, heading up to Turtle Rock.
I mean, hey, look, Trey got spooky at least. You know, that's a little bit of time saved there.
And we're going to say nope to the front, because we are just going to now just jump down.
Oh, that's right. I think he saved a key. Maybe. Yeah, I think he has a key because he had to go to the front because he grabbed the big chest, went to the crystal roller, went to the front. I think they grabbed the key past the chain chomp room from the pokey and then mirrored to go to the back, and yet there's two small keys. Once again, going from the middle to the front kind of saves you a small key as well. So yeah, that's just go straight to the boss from the back.
And this is looking to be a super money check here from Trey. Meanwhile, folks, we're getting close to our favorite little game we like to play here.
Where is the Gans Tower big key?
This Trinex is going to fall and the game will begin proper, and it's going to be a very short game. Super on being carried meanwhile by Tracespire. We know it's not going to have anything of actual importance here, but maybe there'll be something here that points Trey in the right direction. I doubt it, but still. And down goes Trinex. Pretty quick fight with Gold Sword. Only 3 slashes for each head and the main body. Nice reload of the quiver there. We're good to go for the Mimic Rooms. And onwards to Ganon's Tower. 22 chests in the basement, only one of which can have our big key. Despite with his big key shuffle, it has not changed. Blue Boomerang and 3 bombs picked up in the Pyramid Fairy meanwhile. And Vex is on his way.
Yeah, just the same quit from here brings him straight to the tower. So it's going to be really fast to get to Gan's Tower too. Yeah, Tracespire is going Tower of Hera next. Maybe Spike Cave along the way, or right after Tower of Hera, most likely.
Alright. Let's see where we go. First chest is a small key. Second chest is another small key.
I like going to the right here. You have half magic. You don't have to worry about magic here.
Torch is number 3. Even if we don't pick it up, it is only a single rupee. Moving on over to what is commonly known as Dark Magician Room, also known as Stalfos Room. 4 more items there. And there it is.
The key of this dungeon.
4.
Number 4. Good job, Torsui. And Quiet Requiem. Congratulations. You win.
Ether medallion check happening here. Only 20 rupees. And here we go with the Mimic Rooms.
Yeah, with the
nice and quick.
Silver Arrows one shot, just keep going. The health is a little concerning, but they have powder if they really want to. They can take the safety room if they really care.
Yeah, honestly, coming up here, I would damage boost, dash across the orbs, if you have enough iframes to do that, and just go into the safety room and just heal up for the gauntlet. You're on 4 hearts, but with red mail, I would just do it just to be safe. But choosing not to, okay.
I mean, like, you're not really going to get damage in these first few rooms. Maybe one of them. And then you can just powder and then spawn all the Landmo to all at the same time and just go for a spins and just kill them off quickly with a gold sword. It's not bad.
It is not really bad. No, you were not wrong there. Actually, does he even realize he has the powder?
Yep. I would have waited an extra second here, but, you know, maybe they're just going to use silvers. Never mind. Quick swap off of that. Just go to Kane, please.
Oh, it does fire off 1 silver. Lambo 1 falling meanwhile here, as Vextober is on his way to Lambo 2.
Yeah, this gauntlet is looking clean from Vex.
Very good execution here at the end. And we are going to see the tile room here in Taurahera. And welcome in viewers from SpeedGaming 2. We are just wrapping up this race here between TraceSpire and Vextover. Vextover is in go mode and is already on to the Molder 2 floor here, so going to be finishing up fairly quickly. Trey, meanwhile, has yet to find the last speed key he needs here in this Ambrosia setting seed, which is currently located at Hammer Pegs. He found his hammer extremely late, that being on Uncle Chest. And this was a very annoying early game, to say the least, for inverted standards. It's definitely worth watching the full VOD here.
Yeah, this end game just looking so clean from Vex, clearing the Goblin with ease, beating all the bosses with ease, working his way up. This is one of the biggest hurdles right here, is how many cycles it takes to kill this, depending on the angles. And then Ganon should just be a cakewalk with the gold sword and silvers.
Only single hit here. Another double. Maybe keep me being checked. And this is good from Trey, because this does put the hammer checks in mind, so hopefully we'll lead him towards hammer. We'll lead him to hammer pegs.
Yeah, but they also left the 3, maybe 4 chests in the front of TR unchecked, so they might have to go back into TR and do that.
Looks like that is going to be the case. And the bat just breaks into the roof of the main lobby here, and that's enough to put him into the Ganon fight, I guess. Inverted is weird sometimes. Let's not question it. It's time for Ganon on Vextover. I will say, with the palette swap here, I do like the purple magma here on TraceSpire's side.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'd like about palette shuffle, but for the most part, I really don't like palette shuffle. It just messes with my head a little bit.
Very clean execution here from Vextover. Only 6 slash to get through these first 2 phases, so already done. On to phase 3.
Yeah, it just depends on how many teleports that they want to do. Is what's slowing him down now.
Alright, one more hit here. And maybe getting a quick arrow shot in. Tries to go for double, does not quite get it.
Maybe another single setup here.
Yeah, another single. Ganon not behaving, so it's going to be 4 singles, but that's going to be more than enough here. There's the final silver arrow. Ladies and gentlemen, get your GGs in chat for Vextover. Vextover finishing in first place with a time of 1:37:39, and TraceSpire forfeits as soon as the dot done comes in. GG's to both our runners here. It was a bit of a rough seed, admittedly, because that was not an easy Moon Pearl to get.
Yeah, this race could have been easily flipped based on which way each other went in the light world, and we really thought Trey really had it with the boost advantage, finding the flute first, hookshot first, just all that extra movement. But the items came up in such a way for Vextover that it worked out a lot better for him in the long run.
We are now joined by our 2 runners here. GG's to both of you once again. And this Moon Pearl was kind of a thing. Walk us through how your thoughts were about the seed.
I was... Well, first off, GG's, Trey.
Yeah, GG.
Secondly, I really was debating mimic clipping, like, right away. But then I was like, oh, you know what? I don't have a bow. There's got to be some sort of progression here in the front of this, or it's in a really, like, it's either catfish or something. And so I got the hook shot, and I was like, okay, sweet. I'm going to get Pearl up on the mountain, and then I'm going to have the whole seed open, and I probably just skipped out on all the pod. Then I get a bow. And I was like, man, really? The one time I make the play to just try to skip pod because it's a pendant, I literally go onto a 2-check chain that gives me the bow to go back to pod.
Sounds about right. Yep. Welcome to Inverted. No, this was about what I expected.
I kind of expect it every time.
With the early game, it's inverted. It's going to be dumb. It's either super dumb or super nice. There's no in between.
Yeah,
and having to climb, logically having to climb Agate Tower to get your Thieves Town Big Key off of Sick Kid, to get your flippers, to go get your hook shot, to get your bow, to get your Moon Pearl, is about par for the course for inverted.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. I mean, some seeds like that where it's just the mountain left, I like consider current jumping just to get over there, because a lot of times it'll just unlock that for you. Especially with the pendant pod, like I'm more likely to do it because I don't know that I even need the hammer to clear it, or like I don't know if I need to clear it, so I don't know that I even need the hammer, right? And so in pendant pod, I'm more likely to do that. And if I had done that, I'd have the hook shot the first trip up the mountain, right? But no, I was trying to stay just a little bit in logic, and yeah, see how that works out in inverted.
I mean, if you current jump this seed, when do you get your flippers?
Opposite. Oh man, that's a really good point. I mean, if you current jump this seed, you probably don't get flippers forever. Like, when are you going to go to Thieves Town?
Yeah, when you're going to the back of Thieves Town in particular, knowing there's only one item not on blind.
Yeah, no, that's exactly true.
That's a bit rough, and that was going through my mind the entire time of, okay, I have these flippers. That could be a huge advantage if Vex decided to current jump. I guess that didn't happen today.
No, that's absolutely true. No, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stay in logic because just climb the mountain. If I wouldn't have had the lamp, well, no, I mean we would have had to have the lamp at that point. But if I wouldn't, you know, that gives you Aga, and so I'm just like, all right, well, it's probably just an Aga to go get something seed, and my Dark World's probably Aga no matter what. And so I died to the Lionels once because, you know, they love to kill you on 3 hearts.
Oh.
And then I died in Thieves Town the second time in. That one was really fun. That was like, oh no, it was in the front. It was like right before. It was before the big key door. But like, dude, the stupid Zazak was underneath the thing, and he walked into me, and then I kept walking with my iframes, and he literally like clipped with me. Yeah, he clipped with me, and so like the whole time I took 4 hearts of damage underneath the bridge. Just walking over there.
I don't know how I did it, but in Thieves Town, my first visit, I definitely pulled off some Matrix moves and like either frame rolled some of the Zizaks or just actually like the sprites met at just the point where I didn't take damage. In my mind, I think it happened. It probably happened only once, but it felt like 2 or 3 times.
No, I will say I think one of the biggest things I did in that seed. That like, so because I got the hook shot later, right? So I didn't want. Normally I'll run up to catfish, but because it was Flipper's access, and Flipper's access sucks without boots, I ran it. I just went to pod first without the bow, and I tried to stay in logic, right? But because of that, I got the hook shot late, and when I went up the mountain, and I had gotten all that other stuff, I was like, all right, well, I need to make some sort of play because anybody that goes to catfish first and then goes up the mountain for hook shot cape before going to a pendant pod definitely has their Moon Pearl before me. And so I felt really behind. Not really behind, but I felt pretty behind on that. And so I immediately just saved quit the mountain, and I did Light Death Mountain and got my mirror like immediately. Right.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. So I got my mirror instantly after pod, or after I was up there. And then right after I got my mirror, I went and did Uncle, like through the Aga portal, and I got the hammer, and so I did Swamp. So I had Ether like when I finally when I finally went over to the desert area. I went through the front of desert, just the left side, and like at the very end, and I had desert big, so I finished desert, and I went into Mire Shed and got my go mode in Mire Shed, and I was like already ready to do Mire, and I didn't need to go back up the mountain at all for anything else in TR, and so it was kind of worked out pretty well for me. But man, that start really did feel bad. There was, you don't know where you are in a start like that, right? Because you like if you current jump, you probably miss the flippers. If you get the bow first before going in, you're ahead.
Yeah, pretty much. The reason I got to the hammer so late is because I didn't have that mirror. Because like I was waiting to do the castle until I was waiting for the mirror so I could just save and quit there instead of having to walk up to the portal every time. But with Mitts were in castle too. I don't know if you actually went in or not.
Yeah, no, I did. That's how I got up to CAC because I.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, so since I got the mirror right away, right, that put me. I was in the south and I was in the light world down there after doing Swamp, and so I went over and did Mini Moldorm into Ice Rod, and then I water walked up to the Zora area, right. So I got my Fire Rod right then, and so I just did Ice, and then I went immediately to Eastern because I had the Eastern big, right. So I had a mirror portal on Highlight Island, and so I just swam over and ran up to Eastern, and so I got my hammer pretty early too, and so it just kind of, not hammer, I got whatever was in Eastern Palace book.
Book.
Yeah, it was the book, which didn't really do much for me because I went to CAC anyways after that, but no, I mean I just kind of rushed into the dungeons and cleared stuff on the way to them this seed, which worked out except for the part where Moon Pearl was really late, right? And so that's why the seed was really long. If we had gotten Moon Pearl earlier and I kind of had done the same thing, it would have been real fast.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think it was like an hour Moon Pearl.
Yeah, that post Moon Pearl routing was actually very interesting. It seemed like Vextover, you were focusing mainly on doing dungeon clearing, whereas Trey was actually focusing on doing overworld clearing. It was very interesting to watch them from both sides. Yeah,
Trey was following that. Like as he said earlier, the flippers into the Fire Rod into Fire Rod checks immediately after, where Vex went straight to the mountain and avoided the CAC area for pretty much as long as possible until even going into Hyrule Castle, finding the small key up front, just leading it to like a very, very clean route from Hyrule Castle, North, Light World, Lost Woods, CAC, Smith Chain, down to Desert, into go mode.
I literally did a route that went smoothly from dungeon to dungeon, clearing the overworld in between, and cleared the dungeons as I was there. Like I never had to re-dip anything except for flying back up to do TR. It was literally like a roundabout route where I went, did all the overworld, went into the dungeon, cleared it, went to the next dungeon, got all the overworld on the way and cleared it. Yeah, no, it felt good. Like the route felt really good. I don't know that it was necessarily the fastest thing in the world, but it really felt good. It was fun to play.
One day I'll remember how to do all that. Eventually. We'll get there.
But, I think, so Amerit's asking who's playing on the weekend. They're going to play on the weekend. It's Jon Snoo, and I believe Adalor, right? Yeah.
Yep. I think that's Sunday at like 3 Eastern, I think.
Yeah, that's like the run back for Adalor from last year, right?
Yeah, I think.
I was actually going to ask you when that next match was, because I actually don't see that on the schedule here. But
it might not be on the schedule. I think they're trying to just make sure.
Yeah, but I'm sure it'll be the weekend.
It's definitely going to be the weekend for sure.
All right, we'll look forward to that. But yeah,
GG's everybody, and thanks for putting this on for sure. Thanks for the restream. Yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah, GG's, and congrats on your first win this season. And who knows, maybe you can 2-0, or maybe you'll go 1-1 and might have a little rivalry going between you two.
Yes, once again,
Yeah, we'll
GG's. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said we'll see.
Yes, once again, GG's to Tracefire and GG's once again to Vextover, putting on an amazing race for us tonight. Make sure to give them a follow here. Coming up on the schedule here in terms of the Only Two Fast Randomizer League, we don't have any more matches for you tonight, but we have restreams to be determined on these. We have another match coming up on 12 o'clock. That is Fred Coughlin versus Tito, Team Bob the Bond Club versus Team Twittercon Fiesta. And then at 2 o'clock, we have Last Locationeers versus Noble Foxes, Zenar Crane versus Halefield Bay, and then a classic team returns here out at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Tile Roomies versus OK Game, RD Walsh versus Krellbell. And make sure to, of course, follow SpeedGaming and SpeedGaming 2 through 6 so you don't miss any racing action, not just the Link to Fast Randomizer League. And of course, we also have the ALTTPR League, and the ALTTPR League 2 through 4 or 6. I don't remember how many we have. But we host some races over there as well if we have enough people. And of course, make sure to also follow my co-commentator, Don Vanu, who put an excellent job of co-commentator. Great working with you. And of course, make sure to follow our tracker as well, Arteril. Well, and that's going to do it for us here. So for all of us here at A Link to Fast Randomizer League, I have been Wolfling0370, and we shall see you all next time. And thank you for watching. Have a good night, everyone.